Hey everybody, welcome to coverage of the 5th annual TerRon Open at Lake Fenwick Disc Golf Course. I'm Tyler Schrock, bringing you coverage today from Fairway Media. Joining me in the booth here is Kirby Snyder. Hey Kirby, how's it going today?
Good, man. Thanks for having me here. Thank you to Fairway Media and Justin Banks for having us today. Thank you to yourself and to Jim Hansen for hosting the event.
All right, so we're lining up here at Lake Fenwick. This is a nice wooded course, a B tier running this weekend.
5th annual TerRon, brought to you by MVP, Mandos, and Mastercraft Electric. Today CTPs are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Did I get that right, Tyler?
Yep.
Yeah. And longest putt on 18. You'll be playing red pads today with the exception of hole 8. You'll be on blue. Speaking of hole 8, if you go OB to the right, you can either play it where you crossed OB or go to the optional drop zone, whichever you want. No provisional, just play one or the other. Hole 18 is the longest putt. I think it's about circle 1 right now. And that is about it. Any questions? All good?
Trying to make us run the 18 elevated basket.
Thanks for your hard work.
Hey, that's you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks to our assistant TD there, Jim Hansen, for getting us started off. On the card today, we have myself and Kirby, as well as Brandon, McNew, and Tim. So Kirby, I'll let you get us started off here on hole 1.
Yeah, hole 1's, we're playing from the red pad, so everything here is going to be a little on the shorter side. This is a baseline logic, and I got really lucky with the trees there. That was cool. It's cool seeing it from this angle. What are you throwing here?
Yeah, I'm lining up on hole 1. I pulled this shot just slightly. I was going for a lower line, and yeah, curious to see that reaction on that backside, just barely making it safe on that OB brick line.
Here's Brandon. Looks like he's setting up one of his rocks. Watch out for these. He's going to be throwing them all day. And looks like he did pretty much the same line that you did, just a little long, kind of finding that back gap back there.
And last up is TenKley. He's another player who's been really active in this last year or so, kind of from down south. And wow, he's dancing on that OB line on the backside.
That was so close. Yeah, he's throwing a Kratos. We're going to see him throw that a lot today. He's got a ton of power, so we'll see him throw a lot of Discraft. I think he throws an Essence as well. Yeah, like you said, he's newer, to the area, newer to playing pro, but we've seen him a ton this year, and we'll probably see him a lot next year as well.
So all across this green and all across this course, you'll see a lot of obstructions, a lot of slopes. Brandon not quite able to convert on that one. I'm about a foot to the right, just slightly more open than Brandon was.
Yeah, it's a tight gap to get through. It's like you're so close, but at the same time, there's really not many options.
Yep. So here to start off this group, it looks like we'll have 3 tap-ins for par. And I think, Kirby, that's your blue disc sitting there, so you're probably pretty happy with that start there.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Especially for a drive that didn't feel, super awesome out of the hand. To still kind of get a couple of lucky tree kicks like that was great. Hole 2 here. This is a great new tee pad. I'm not too familiar with this one, other than for this tournament. Really straight shot. It's a little more uphill than you realize, and finishes pretty good to the left. You see that kind of branches that hang out into the fairway on the right or on the left there. They'll usually catch people's discs and kind of get them to drop. And there is OB on the right side over there.
Yeah, I'm disking up on this hole. You can kind of see that late kind of bush that's really pin high. I came a little bit left to cross it, but yeah, staying away from the OB and getting something to swing back late is helpful. Here's Brandon kind of punching straight. He'll have a bit of a look, but probably in that circle 2 range.
Yeah, I'd say that's a common miss. Tim setting up and pulling a little right, getting a decent reaction out of the trees, and he's pretty far down there. He might be putting still, kind of a longer putt.
Yeah. Here's Brandon from circle 2. He has kind of a traditional in of a bag, so I'm guessing he's floating an AVR at this one. Gets cut up, but within 10 feet there for a quick tap in.
Yeah, Tim looking just a little obstructed, but pretty good run. Chain high the whole way, it's good.
Yeah, we mentioned it on hole 1. Almost no flat or open putts available on this course. So even with my shot that slid through, still have a little bit of work left. And Kirby's able to tap in as well here. So
Yeah.
no damage done on hole 2. All right, that'll take us into hole number 3. This one is kind of tucked into a corner here, and this basket is perched up on a plateau. And up first we have Kirby.
Yeah, this is an Exosoft Notion. This hole's so tricky because you really want to land so flat and really slow on the hill or on the slope, and try not to roll onto the hillside and just like down the hill. So yeah, trying to flip this up, trying to get it just off of that hill there, and yeah,
That's the ground play you want, something that just kind of hits and runs out of gas pretty quickly.
yeah, really landing flat on that hillside and getting that angle control on the hill is so wildly important to this.
And yeah, I had a little too much speed and a little pulled to the right, but I was able to kind of get checked up really quickly by that tree.
Looks a little early left.
Yeah, but still a scary look down, kind of above the basket there for Brandon. And Tim's up last.
Going back to that Kratos.
Yeah. He was looking a little higher and wider there. He may have had a little bit of a pull or offline a little bit. He'll have a putt from the drop zone. First up will be Brandon, though, looking from high to low on this putt. Kind of a common mistake. It's a tough run anytime you aren't well within the circle on this hole.
Yeah, it was a fine half bid. He kind of gave it a chance without putting too much risk in there. And Tim, I think that's a smart play. I think that's just far enough away. I have a tree that's kind of on the right there, where if I'm in line with the tree, I feel confident in running that putt. And anything behind that tree is you're just asking for trouble. So I think the drop zone is probably about 5 to 10 feet behind what I consider to be like a safe putt.
Yeah, even my putt there from 20, certainly some nerves.
Yeah, it's
taking
scary.
my time. Yeah, you want to see it hit and drop immediately. So,
and shout out to Toby Makloff. I stole the CTP from him because I beat him by a little bit there. So CTP is mine.
yeah, thanks to MVP. They sponsored this event and threw in a bunch of CTP prizes. They've sponsored this event since the beginning back in 2020. You can actually see the 2020 event coverage here on Fairway Media, so take a look back in the library there if you want to check you out. All right, so Kirby, you were the one to park it. I was also able to pick up a 2. Kirby's off to a strong start here and on to hole 4.
Yeah, it feels really good to get go 3 for 3. Here I am, hole 4, throwing a drop. This is uphill, about 160 feet. This hole is not necessarily the most challenging shot, but it is super dangerous if you're off by even a little bit. And that's one of the ways to show kind of the teeth of this hole, is hitting that early tree and kind of getting down that hill.
Yeah, we're playing up a spine at the very top of the course here. And flying off camera there, my shot actually cleared an entirely different hole's fairway. So from where I landed, I'm going to be about 300 feet left to the basket on a 160-foot hole. We're seeing the more traditional plays here, kind of just throwing a little smooth hyzer.
That was nice.
You love to see kind of that just shot that hooks up. And based on my position, I actually am electing to re-tee on this hole.
Yeah, really tough. And that was really close. I remember standing at the tee side being like, dude, that would have been the sickest par save of all time to ring it up again. And this is you see me back there kind of stumbling. There's a lot of just like loose ground back there, and I couldn't get my feet underneath me to actually run a putt that I was going to feel comfortable with. And you see me telling Tim over on the right side there, anytime I would kind of get my feet down, they would slide out. So instead of running that putt and potentially going down that hill, it's just easier to take the par.
Slope is always hard to show on camera, but from where you were at, you're well above the basket, and you can kind of see this hard pan underneath. So yeah, taking a par. Not a par you love, but one you can accept pretty quickly.
Yeah. Especially, like we were saying, it can get so out of hand so fast. And, even shots that really aren't too bad can just kind of get on edge and start trickling down that hill and be way out of there. So, good birdies from Brandon and Tim. Nice job there. Hole 5 here, par 3, 290 feet. It is pretty straight and then finishes like kind of hard to the left. I think the ideal play is to get like a little skip that you saw Brandon get there. There is a Mando that you got to stay to the right of, kind of in the middle, which will avoid people kind of throwing into sixes fairway. I would say a common shot is to either completely wrap around there or is to hit the stuff on the right and kind of drop by that log.
Yeah, this has a pretty open, probably first 60%, and there's this pinch that you're kind of seeing Kirby fly through there. Anything you can do to kind of progress through that gap will give you some type of a look at the basket.
What are you throwing here? That looks pretty.
I'm reaching for a hex. It's a dyed one, and I pulled it a bit too straight, and you'll kind of see it plinko around over there. Yeah, we'll see where I end up. I knew I kind of didn't quite hit the line I was hoping for. There's Jim Hansen and some of our fans there.
Hi, guys. Giving yourself a long look. And, man, you knew that out of the hand. That was awesome.
Yeah, no, I actually hadn't ever landed on that spot on the green, and I got one of the really rare flat open putts on the course here, so happy to kind of sneak a two in there.
And this is going to be a common theme with Brandon for both rounds 1 and 2, is his putting is so consistent and so good, and he's got that nice kind of like soft floaty putt that doesn't put him in too much danger even if he does miss, which is really great to watch.
Yeah, another nice hit from Tim, so the three farthest players have put it in, so Kirby, you got not much left here either.
No, this is one of the new Discmania drops. It's kind of their version of a zone. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving on that. I'm going to be relying on that a lot this weekend.
Yeah, so Kirby, you're off to a 4 for 5 start with a layup, so got to be pretty happy with your positioning and scoring so far.
Yeah, on the red pads, you really want to get out. You got to shoot a hot round. Every par, if you get a bogey, you really feel like you're losing strokes to the field. So
yeah, for sure. Here's Brandon. Again, we've kind of mentioned his smoothness. Yeah, probably throwing a rock there, giving himself another look, probably from about the edge of the circle.
Tim going back to that Kratos. He throws that thing so well. He throws it on... It looks like he's trying to throw that as much as he possibly can. I'm going for the forehand here. I'm not really known for throwing a lot of forehands, but there's so much empty space out on that left, and in my mind, I really am just trying to wrap around that big dead tree there. So
yeah, haven't seen many forehand plays on this hole, but I really like that one.
In my practice round, I did get one or two that would kind of hit the tree on the right or get into that little bushy guy in front of the boat. So that was just, it was kind of in my mind that that's a possibility. And yeah, the forehand was just working a little better for me.
Yeah, a little bit of a comeback putt, but yeah, that forehand play looked super successful there.
Nice job. Good putt from Tim. The Kratos only hole for him, no problem.
Yeah. And Brandon, his shot snuck up there pretty well too, so he's probably only 15, 20 feet out. And it looks like we're sneaking up on another star frame here. Really, like you were saying, Kirby, it's kind of what you want to see on this course, especially some of these more open holes. We're going to sneak up here to hole 7. A bit more obstructed, a bit more challenging here than some of the other ones.
Yeah, it's a really tight tunnel shot. I feel like there's like one gap that he was so close to hitting right there. And if you hit that gap and you're starting to kind of hyzer past it, you really just kind of funnel yourself like down to the basket. Tim looks a little high. And yeah, that's kind of right, that branch.
Square stump. You kind of want to be over the stump and under that branch.
Under that branch, 100%. I'm going back to that drop. I'm just kind of hoping to hit it clean. And yeah, out of the hand, I knew it was a little higher than I meant.
Yeah.
That's the branch, though, that you're trying to miss. What is this that you're throwing?
Yeah, this light blue disc is a heavyweight fission crave. I liked it pretty well. I'm heading a little left, a little early, but at least cleared that initial gap. So should give me a look probably in that circle 2 range.
This is a really tight or touchy approach shot. Where the basket is, it tends to the hillside tends to kind of catch the disc and get it on edge, and then rolling towards long 8s tee pad down there. So yeah, there's some ivy on the backside of that Brandon was just short of that I think catch the disc really well, and that's usually where I'm trying to throw those approach shots. Yeah,
so those ferns that you kind of see in the frame there are about 30 feet or so. So I'm trying to give this a half run here. And unfortunately, we'll see it hit, and it finds the cleanest path all the way down to the next tee pad. So not the result I was looking for.
Yeah, I was down there hanging out, and all of a sudden your disc came rolling at me. I was like, "What are you doing, bud?"
Yeah, bit of a tough break. We'll see if this one sticks for Tim, and it looks like it does. And I have a bit longer approach than the putt I just had. Had a few gaps to here to kind of make it back up to the basket.
Now, this is a shot I feel like a couple years ago I wasn't seeing you throw, is that kind of like short, touchy forehand approach. How much work have you put in the last like year or two into making that a thing that you can use, all the time during tournaments?
Yeah, nice putt there. Good kind of scramble that we'll see a lot here. It really kind of came as a result of playing Fenwick quite a bit and getting those kind of circle 2, circle 3 approaches. Being able to look at the basket and kind of flick a wrist, I think, is a huge benefit. Even in the open, when longer putts don't quite feel like they're going to fly where you need it to, sometimes just a little wrist flick is the way to go.
Yeah, I've seen you put them in from 80 to 100 feet at times, and it's looking really good. It definitely looks like it's opened up a big part of your game, being able to throw that forehand even off the tee at times on some shorter shots and that. So
yeah, Fenwick as a whole doesn't play for many forehands, but you can certainly shape some, and by necessity, you might occasionally need it.
See who's sponsoring this hole?
Jim's making cameos all over the coverage here. You love to see it. Jim has put in a bunch of time to help out and carry the load when I'm playing or whenever I need an extra set of hands. So shout out to Jim.
Yeah, it's really a pleasure having him out there. Hole 8 here. I think this is the longest hole in the course. It's really the only one that I really feel like I gotta step up and rip. We're looking at, this is 315. I think it's a lot longer than that. But it's through this tunnel. Yeah, it's got to be at least like 350, 380 or so. But through this tunnel and kind of up the hill there, it's a beautiful, beautiful hole, beautiful fairway to play. When you hit this line clean, it feels so good. I'm throwing a pretty beat up PD2 here. This is one that's kind of easy for me to kind of like flex a little bit. Really the thing that's the most important is that it hyzers out at the end and then starts to get a little movement up that hill.
Yeah, I think a little bit of flex will get you all the way there. It's tough to throw a complete hyzer flip or a complete hyzer the entire way. You almost need to break a little bit left to right and then come back.
Yeah.
Here I'm going with the fission time lapse. These have been adding a little bit of distance to my game, and I'm kind of liking this line. I'm flirting a little bit with those back trees, but relatively happy with the pull.
This is just absolutely...
You just got fennied so hard.
Yeah, so what you can't see from the tee pad there is I caught that rock and I rolled backwards out of bounds on this one. So
You probably rolled about 60 feet or so.
yeah.
That was
yeah.
gross.
So I'm kind of contending with a few trees here, reaching for a forehand. I'm obstructed from the basket, but I put it to about 20 feet there.
Nice floaty run from Brandon. Going back to that, his putts are so touchy, and he's got such a nice pace to him all the time.
Yeah. Does that one stick? Oh, man. So Tim is also getting an unfortunate roll out there, connecting with the basket and kind of rolling out.
Bruh.
So Kirby, it looks like we might have missed your upshot there, but
It was nothing special.
yeah. Didn't hear any fireworks, so I
Nah.
think you'll be tapping in a par.
I'm walking up there with everybody else,
Yeah.
But that was about pin length. That was fine. It wasn't like the ideal throw, but it was just good enough, and I didn't get an unlucky reaction or anything. So I love this basket position. I think this is absolutely awesome up here. It does add a little bit of challenge, and that's kind of like we were saying, kind of the theme of Fenwick is to not really have flat putts. Like a lot of your putts are going to be on elevated basket. You're going to be putting up. You're going to be putting down. You're going to be putting on hillsides and, having some awkward straddles at times. So,
Yeah, we're all kind of navigating this green. It's a relatively small green for a kind of a longer uphill hole. Par's not bad at all. There weren't really many birdies on this hole there for the day.
no, I don't think so.
Sorry.
All right, our last hole of the front 9 here. We're kind of tucked down below and shooting up to kind of a guarded basket. We'll see the pin here in just a moment. So playing kind of out into the sunlight and navigating some kind of late obstructions. Picture perfect shot from Brandon, just kind of getting a little bit of a hyzer flip up the hill.
Yeah, that was awesome. This hole is one of the trickier holes for me just because the tee pad is so short. You're going to kind of see me set up on that hillside and then kind of step down and into it. I in a perfect world, I would have like another like 2 feet, of tee pad to use. Because I want to throw mid range, I want to throw a slower disc, and I want to kind of put a little move on it to get it to flip up just a little bit. And this has been my miss, like for all my practice rounds all week, has been just a little high. Not a bad result all in all, but not getting the birdie from there.
Yeah, the fairway on this hole does kind of bubbles out a little bit, so there is some room to scramble. Tim, we're seeing his hyzer flip. Yeah, just flirting a little bit on the high right side. Those shots do sort of get knocked down. So I'm reaching for a little bit of a higher speed disc here, a trace, and I'm just trying to punch through a little bit lower in righter. This hole for me plays somewhat long because we are shooting up the hill. I'm kind of between a mid-range, or excuse me, I'm almost between a fairway and a distance driver depending on the angles that I'm taking.
Looks pure.
Yeah, so got really good reaction there, kind of through the ferns and under the fence.
Yeah.
Tough to control the last like 10% of that flight.
Do you know what is there like a real purpose behind the fence other than just to be an obstacle for disc golf? Like, is that something that like the parks department decided that they needed for any particular reason?
Yeah, a really good run there from Tim. There actually were shrubs that guarded this hole years ago, and those were kind of put in as a replacement to kind of approximate the original line to the basket.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, one day I remember going out there and being like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, it's a spot I want to get some banners up for maybe some future tournaments.
That would look cool. Yeah, your logo here. Sell it now.
Yeah, contact me if anybody has sponsorship opportunities. Maybe Fairway Media will join us there.
Nice birdie from Brandon. That was such a sick drive. He had that nice little skip up.
Yeah, Brandon peered it. I kind of snuck one through. It looks like you and Tim are both cleaning up some pars.
All right, hole 10 here. I think hole 10 is, if not the most challenging hole, one of the top 2 or 3 most challenging holes on the course, short or long. As you can see, there's kind of that little field goal down there that Brandon just kind of crested through. You want to get through that field goal and then make a hard left and shoot probably about another 60, 70 feet left there. He got through just to the right, so he should be really happy. He should have like a no problem par.
I'm attempting to go a little bit lower through that gap, and I, out of my hand, thought I was close, but that kick can be really brutal, so I'll have some scrambling to do. Thankfully, I got at least 220 off the tee from where I was. And Kirby, you're going down the right side. Do you like that bailout play a little bit, or did you kind of miss your gap a bit?
No, I missed so bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I missed so bad.
That's the side you want to miss on, though. There's a lot more open space and flat ground off to the right.
For sure. Yeah, that is kind of the plan, is to kind of miss over there, but not miss like that, I guess. Like, I definitely just pulled it with a little too much anhyzer. I wanted to stable up, and I wanted to fade out of that so much harder than that. So I wasn't disappointed because I did make it to that backside, which is like the bare minimum that you want to do here. Where you are here in the bowl, this can be really tough and really tricky, finding the right gap to get over and to the pin with.
Yeah. Just reaching for a hyzer here with just an overstable approach disc. Thankfully, I had some room to swing. In those bushes, you can really get pinched, and you can just be dealing kind of with a twig jail. And you're kind of up on the road there. Just chipping up. I think the area where you and kind of the rest of the card landed is probably a common collection spot for people that just throw that straight shot.
Yeah. Where Brandon is that where... is that like that little like landing where the pin used to be?
Yeah, he's within maybe 10 feet of the original long pin.
I really like that spot. It was really cool back in the day.
Right.
This one's more challenging for sure, but the other one was really cool.
Oh, yeah. Tim not quite able to connect. It's nice to have a look at this hole if you do get it through clean. There were a few birdies on the day. We'll give them a shout out here after this hole wraps up.
Good par for Brandon.
Yep, Brandon seems to just be kind of smoothing his way on through. Hasn't really seemed like he's been streaky, just kind of taking what's put his way.
Yeah.
So after a really strong start.
Yeah, he's really consistent, smooth putter, smooth thrower. Good guy to have on the card.
Yep. So once again, I'm finding all the slopes here on the course. I have not really had a flat putt yet, so. All right, put that one away and keeping my footing.
Yeah. It's such a, you're so close to the basket and you're like, this should be so easy, but then all of a sudden you're looking down at it like that and you're like, this is not a simple putt anymore.
All right. On to hole 11. This basket is tucked just behind this big tree.
Oh, yeah.
And either side of the big tree is just fine as long as you don't break too hard left or right.
Past
So
the tree.
mission accomplished there for Brandon.
Yeah, that tree really is kind of the lone protector here. The uphill really isn't too much of an issue. Like that vegetation in front of you really shouldn't be too much of an issue. That was a sweet drive.
That's not too far.
That kind of late turn and then that kind of like last minute stand up is really, really cool. This is another one where I'm going back to like a PD2 forehand. I like swinging it kind of out on the left there and just letting it skip its way over to the basket.
Yeah, skipping about cage, maybe even chain high right by the basket. Yeah, this is one of the few holes where I feel like a forehand is actually kind of a more favorable line.
Yeah.
The backhand, you kind of got to flirt with that tree quite a bit more.
I'm a little surprised to see Tim not throwing a forehand here. He has a really strong forehand. I know his backhand is probably his dominant side of his game, but his forehand is strong enough definitely to make it up there and throw a pretty good shot. So good birdie from him.
Yeah, maybe 20, 25 feet on that putt there. Plays a bit longer uphill. Here's Brandon, yeah, chugging right along. I've mentioned both you and Brandon are kind of just doing what you need to do so far. Nothing flashy, but just keeping a pretty strong pace.
Yeah, like we were saying, you don't want to take bogeys, and you want to try to birdie, as much as possible.
You'll see us kind of looking around. We were looking for a CTP flag. We, though, must not have listened to the assistant TD because the CTP will actually be on hole 12.
Yeah.
Hole 11. We got ourselves a bit tied up on that one.
I wish we would have asked the tournament director about that or something. Hole 12 here. I'll put it out there. This is probably my least favorite hole in the course.
That last tree.
Took it down.
Yeah.
220. It's a super tight gap. There's a metal pole in the middle of this because there used to be a tree there that somebody like cut down or knocked down, and kind of out of spite they put a metal pole in. Say like, hey, that's still an obstacle. Great shot from you. That looked like you might have been running the basket there for a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say this one is the most kind of old school feeling hole. It can be a bit of a poke and pray, and that metal pole is one of the most frustrating things to connect with. The entire back half of the course knows when you hit that metal pole.
Yeah, it's so loud and it really does ring, throughout the entire course. And this is kind of like at the top of this hill too, so it just reverberates down. But the basket's on a hillside there too, which makes some of these approach shots like really tricky as well.
Yeah, this is again a severe side slope we're playing into. Always tough to kind of see on camera, but the rollaway potential is huge on this one, from short putts, long putts. Always a bit scary. Let's see what Tim can do here from maybe 30 to 35 feet.
Just a little low left. Yeah, you'll see even like good drives. Like you had a pretty good drive there and you're now, 30, 40 long.
Yeah, probably 30, 35 feet. This is a comeback putt. I'm thinking of laying this one up, but felt like I had a little bit of a line. Thankfully, I sat relatively close, maybe 15, 18 feet left on a comebacker.
That was so close. That was such a good run. Got I'll say a little lucky with that fern kind of catching me and not letting me roll down as much. And it is in my mind at this point, like, hey man, you're bogey free, and like you and Brandon are like fighting, and he parked it pretty much. So there is a little pressure even on those short putts like that.
Speaking of short putts, thought I made that one, and I'm getting the reaction that we've probably all seen, but always hate. So considering a reputt, considering a few things, but yeah, wandered down to this one to try to save my bogey. And thankfully was at least able to get this hole done here. So
Yeah.
this will be for 5.
Just
Happens fast.
Just getting fennied. It's so bad.
Right. Yeah.
And this can happen to, any player. Like, this is your home course. You play here all the time. And it's just even, somebody that plays here nonstop is still susceptible to this kind of thing.
Yeah, don't like the score on the hole at all, but certainly rollaways can happen. Felt like my putt for par could have stuck as well, so pretty frustrated after that one, trying to not let it affect me too much as we roll over here to hole number 13.
Hole 13's probably like the most downhill hole on the course. You want to throw this kind of like soft, like straight to baby hyzer and kind of let it fade out through this hill here. At 275, it really does play a lot shorter than that. It plays more into like the putter or like the slow mid-range kind of area rather than like a fairway drive or anything like that. There is a natural fairway, but there is a gap on the left side where I think if you hit the gap, you're usually running at the basket pretty good.
Yeah, so Justin, our cameraman, is lined up on the kind of the straight fairway here. You can kind of play it over Justin's head with like that approach disc, or you can kind of cut it left a little bit early. This, yeah, like you're saying, it plays quite a bit shorter. So we're going to see some touch on display on this shot.
This is Tim. This is his Luna. This is another one of his main throwers, and he hits that gap so perfect.
Yep.
That was great.
Kind of all about speed control on this one here. Yeah, I'm kind of between a putter and a mid. I'm opting for a hex here. And a little bit of a misfire on mine. See it try to progress towards the basket and then kind of check up and get kind of that slow roll, but still probably an opportunity from where I'm at. Probably in that circle 2 range.
Yeah, there can be some tough little spots over here.
Yeah, you've found one of them for sure.
Yeah, I think this shot right here was probably like my best technical shot of the round. That like slow kind of like forehand panning shot is not a shot that I'm super comfortable with, so felt really good to execute that and kind of make it through there. Brandon taking the more direct approach, being able to just throw a little jump putt at it. Nice.
Yeah, I was pretty happy here to have a gap. I'm definitely running this putt. I loved it out of my hand. And the theme of the day, we're finding the slope and picking up the maximum roll away there.
Unreal.
So here I'm actually obstructed, once again, farther than what my original putt was. So trying to kind of chip my way back up to the basket there.
Going back to that forehand run. I like it. I mean, at that point, like when you're down there and you have the hillside behind it, like you might as well get aggressive on it and give it a run, because the chances that you get a chance that it goes in, and then the miss can't be too bad because of the hillside behind it.
Yeah, the only frustration there for me is kind of catching that tree, so I'll have a bit left here, but yeah. Inside the circle, maybe 18, 20 feet.
Nice putt. What are you putting with?
Let's see, Electron Firm anodes, so
nice.
Kind of slow, straight, pretty stock middle of the road putter for me.
Yeah, there's like a little bead on that, right?
Yeah, starts with just kind of a bit of a micro bead. So
nice.
So Tim gets the nice birdie, Brandon tapping in a par after some scrambling. And yeah, Kirby, both you and Brandon are off to a pretty strong start here. We still have a little bit of a stretch left.
Yeah, some of these holes on the backside can get pretty tricky. Hole 14 here, 260. The pin, this is like the bowl hole, they'll call it. The pin's on the backside of the bowl, kind of up on that elevated platform. Tim tried to take his Luna through the left side. I think the rest of us are going to opt kind of for the right, kind of like skippy, overstable, like hyzer play. Brandon, that's probably a Firebird. They just got to skip up the hill really nicely like that, so...
This new tee pad is certainly shorter than the original one, but it opens up a completely different line and kind of demands a different shot than what we'll see in round 2.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm throwing a splice here, and I'm trying to like barely wrap the corner, but I pushed it a little too far, and I kind of caught, what is that, Putter Island or Tree Island in there?
Yeah, Tree Island is kind of a clump of trees right in the middle. There is a pin that's available there. We're going to be playing to the long. It's tucked up on a plateau back behind it. This was probably my worst throw of the round so far. Kind of a high tug on the outside, but I'll have a short approach left to kind of make do on this one.
Tim, chippy little zone forehand shot for him. Really didn't give myself any opportunity to give this any real run, so I am just trying to put it next to it. There's so many trees. You can see that one big one on the right is just perfectly in the way.
Oh. So here I am with another kind of forehand, kind of half go, half scramble.
What is that orange one?
That is a really beat up Electron Entropy.
Okay.
I have a new one that I'm kind of working in as well, but that one probably has 2 or 3 seasons of kind of forehand chip shots under it.
Yeah, but it's still got a little stability left in it where it can handle a little torque. So, nice. Absolutely beautiful drive from Brandon, and he'll take a stroke lead over me.
Yeah, that's a hole I think a lot of players are looking to get to like 20, 25 feet. It's tough to park. You gotta shape a shot and kind of slide up.
Yeah.
to get it all the way there.
Yeah, I agree. I think Brandon's is kind of the ideal drive. In my mind, the perfect drive for me is 20, 25, and then putting at it. Flipperoni.
Here's hole 15. We are playing through an early double mando, kind of a line drive shot, and we'll see kind of everybody's straight disc of choice here.
I think Brandon's throwing a Leopard 3. That's such a sweet drive. That's so low. It's turning so slow. Absolutely ideal.
Tim's coming up next. Kind of a little undercommitted, but gets a nice fairway kick at least here.
Yeah, really good tree. Knocked him right back.
Once you clear the initial gap and then that one center tree that you just progressed, you do have a fair amount of room to work after. Looks like you'll be maybe edge of circle just outside.
Yeah, that's an MD1. I was hoping it would flip up just a little more than that, but I'm really happy with the result. Oof.
Yeah, I'm reaching for a crave there. Just a hair undercommitted. Really liked the line initially, but yeah, just needed to break past that tree just a little bit more.
That is the tree to beat on this hole. The double mando, honestly, I think is generous enough where you can make it, but that tree'll hurt you more, I think, than the double mando will.
Yeah.
Long run from Tim.
Yeah, this is another sloped green, a pretty familiar pattern out here, but there is some kind of ivy to slow down shot, so you can go at this one a little more aggressively if you happen to sneak past a little bit.
Yeah, this is definitely a putt where I feel like I can run this as aggressive as I want to because of that backside. And that's probably, honestly, the only big putt that I've really had to make so far today.
Yeah.
If you're playing Fenwick well, you're having short putts, and if you're not playing Fenwick well, you're just not putting.
Yeah.
So.
Or you might have a moderate putt to try to save a par.
No.
Brandon there, kind of a little undercommitted, but thankfully not overly punished on that one. That's a putt that I think he makes 9 times out of 10.
It's nervy. I think he's aware of scores at this point too, because he and I hadn't really talked about it, but I'm sure when you're this late into the round, you have a kind of a feel for what's going on. That definitely starts to get into your mind.
Yeah, I'm a little bit in my own mind at this point. I know double digits are possible on this layout. We'll have to definitely check on scores after the round. I'm definitely off the pace. Yeah, you and Brandon, though, are neck and neck at this point. Definitely kind of trading shots back and forth.
Yeah.
Next up is hole 16. This is a pretty tough one. We're on thankfully, a little easier tee pad here. How are you shaping this one?
This is an MD4 that should have a decent amount of stability to it, so I'm going to crank over on this on an Anheuser, and I like to kind of make that nice S shape and let it kind of pan out. I found that this was a lot safer for me than trying to throw a disc that was more neutral or had a little understability and trying to have it break at the right time, where I'm I can just kind of hammer on this. Looks like Brandon had a lot of the same idea, might have just punched it over a little too hard.
Yeah, you'll kind of see that one skinny, light gray tree in the middle. That's kind of the target that I'm aiming at. We'll see that Tim is a bit off to the left there. I'm trying to throw a shot that almost breaks in front of that. So, as per usual, I'm throwing a little slightly faster disc. Let this one go. It's kind of dancing in the wind a little bit.
That's that crave.
Yeah, I'm going for a crave there. Could certainly get a mid-range there, but I've had good luck with the fairway.
I'm shocked that crave wants to pan out like that. That's pretty overstable for a crave.
Yeah, kind of keeping the nose up or aiming a little higher has helped a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing Tim just kind of chip up a hyzer. This is a green that's actually a little bit more of a bowl shape, so again, allows you to be a little bit more aggressive than some of the ones that we have out here.
Brandon's probably just outside of the circle a bit. And
I feel like you could see it in his release, just didn't quite finish that one up. I'm just barely safe on this one, maybe 20, 25 feet here.
Those rocks are kind of nice because they do add a little bit of a barrier. So if you are kind of coming in there, you're sliding in low, they will kind of check you up a little, which is great.
Yeah, bit of a mental miss on my side. Did catch some chains, but yeah, wasn't quite comfortable on mine. The round has kind of been wearing on me so far. Kirby, a great birdie on that one. Pin high with a mid that's a fairly stock shot, but it's a great one to be able to execute. 16's got a difficult shape.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very stock, even though it is. When you're staring down the fairway, you're like, oh, it's pretty generous. It's pretty wide. And then you start to throw some shades down there, and you realize you're like, there's a lot of stuff that can kind of catch you. You know, it doesn't, even like an okay drive can end up like really bad. Yeah, no, this is a hole that feels huge again. So, hole 17 here, we are playing from the shorter position. There's a Mando on that tree to the left there, and there's also a Mando kind of down a little bit on the right. Common play is to kind of throw through the gap that I'm throwing through right here. Another common play is to throw through like that tree of the V. Basket's going to be behind a log to the left back there.
Yeah, again, a bit downhill. Distance isn't really the challenge. You just have about 3, maybe 4 gaps you have to navigate depending on your preferred route.
Cheesing it up a little bit with Brandon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, adding that Mando just to keep people from playing over 5's fairway here and kind of keeping everybody on this side. And I'm actually opting to go through kind of higher through the uprights and try to straighten something out. Going with a really beat up Neutron Hex and was pretty happy with that. I couldn't exactly see my finish, but yeah, this hole has a lot of kind of demanding gaps, and we'll have to see an approach for some distance here from Tim.
No, I absolutely love your line. I think that shot that you had there was like so pure and clean. Definitely something I struggled with to do in my practice rounds. So kudos to you. That's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. It's a hole I think that really rewards kind of a slow moving shot. You want to hit a gap, but just a lot of touch on it.
Mm-hmm. Brandon, kind of a longer C2. I think he was trying to run that in his mind. If you just get that over the bush, you should be, cracking basket or hitting something. So
yeah, my shot went past the basket here. I'm kind of just on the fringe, kind of some tough footing.
Nice putt.
Probably one of my better putts of the day. Trying to claw back a little bit. I know I'm pretty far back in the lead right now, but trying to set myself up well for round 2.
I think that was your only flat putt of the day. So
might have been.
Yeah. I think this is actually for par. I think we missed my approach shot there because my drive. I don't think my drive was really that close. Like I think I was still
Bach. That's
like 30-ish, 40-ish. Yeah. Someone yelling Baka in the background.
So Brandon's putting here from kind of one of the hedges. There's a large log and a hedge that blocks even the shots that are like pretty good. They often get stopped edge of circle somewhere between like 25 and 45 feet. He's able to get just past it.
And Tim tapping in his par as well. As we move to hole 18, thank you to Justin Banks from Fairway Media for coming out and recording.
Like,
nice
subscribe,
job.
follow.
Memberships.
Like you said, memberships. Memberships, $1 a month.
Get some early access and some exclusive content.
There you go. Hole 18, though, it's one of the shorter holes on the course. It's kind of just like a big stock hyzer. The challenge of the hole is the green. The pin is a very high elevated basket. Your drive looks like it's going to be a little long. It's easy to overshoot this basket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you land kind of to the right of the pin, you have a little bit flatter of a look. You're getting that swing that I think most players are looking for to try to kind of park it. We'll see, hopefully, the gallery that's kind of gathered in the corner. We had a crew of kind of some of our MA3 players that are hanging out all day. They're celebrating and doing a little bit of razzing throughout the day, having a good time. They're pretty happy with Brandon's shot there.
They're a great crowd. It was cool having people there. They were there all day. You could hear them throughout the course for anybody that was coming up. They were cheering for like the big putts. They wanted to see someone break the big putt CTP.
Yeah.
No reaction. That's like
Yeah, we had a crew hanging out. Always a good time at Lake Fenwick. We have a kind of a really good community that's developed there.
Yeah, I don't go to Lake Fenwick too much, but everybody down there is so awesome, and every time I do go, I feel so warm and so welcomed. So
Kirby, tempted at all on that one?
No, honestly, not at all. There was like a gap through the V tree there, but even on like that big straddle, I still couldn't really see the basket. So for this one, it's just easier to take the par and move on.
So Tim had an open putt there, but yeah, probably 30, 35 feet. I'm maybe a couple steps in, maybe 25 feet here.
Nice hit.
Yeah, so a tough round for me. I was able to pick up the last two. So yeah, hopefully having a little bit of momentum.
Ooh, with the style too.
Ooh,
yeah.
A little bit of slow-mo. Thanks, Justin. We always love the added value there. All right, Tim coming back.
Dang. It's so hard to putt from where he is because you're even lower down. So not only is the pin elevated, but now you're also like downhill too. So it turns that 8-foot putt into like a 12-foot putt pretty quick.
Yeah. Tim unfortunately left kind of a few strokes on the green here in the last few holes. I would expect round 2, I bet you we'll see Tim pushing a little bit. He's certainly got quite a bit of game. I know he doesn't play out here very often either, so getting kind of the feel back, I think we'll see some things from him. Woo. My goodness, yeah. Brandon,
Trickling.
I think probably would have loved to put maybe a couple more RPMs on that shot, but successfully puts it home, gets the birdie, and you're cleaning up a par. So
Yeah.
Kirby, I'll let you take us through the standings here after hole 18 and after round 1. How'd you feel about the round? Man, we're in the zone heading into round 2.
It felt pretty good. I knew battling with Brandon, he's a great player, so I knew if I was kind of keeping pace with him. I didn't look to see the leaderboard until the end where Jason absolutely shot fire, so congratulations to Jason Kenway. And once again, thank you, for joining me. Thank you to Justin Banks at Fairway Media.
Yeah, we'll have your coverage here of round 2. We'll be playing from the long pins. Again, we'll be featuring Jason Kenway and Todd Rapaz. They're 2 Fenwick locals. Both were kind of on the border of playing MP40 this event. We'll also be rejoined by both Kirby and, yeah, we're excited to see what we have going in
Let's go,
round number
Brando.
2. Between Brandon, Kirby, and myself, that represents all of the prior TerRon winners. So it'll certainly be a sprint to the finish. Lots of opportunities from these blue tees, but also some challenges.